Alright, so another example here with the law of sines. Now that previous one we had two angles given and a side. Those are nice because if we know two angles, it's easy to find the third angle. Law of sines, you're quick, you're good to go. This case where we've got two sides and an angle in this order, side, side, angle, it's a little bit different. We call this the ambiguous case. We could have no solutions. We might have one, we might have two. And so some textbooks, things will provide all these scenarios. We'll look at this and compare them. I like to not clutter our brains with stuff. Let's just trust the math, trust the relationships, and it'll guide us. Okay, so let's walk you through this. So first thing, we want to solve angle B in this case is the thing we're going to have to solve for, because notice we know this ratio, so we've got this side. So angle B is the first thing we're going to have to solve for here. So let's go and set it up. So sine of B over 7. Notice I'm taking this law of sines, I'm just flipping it. So my angle's on top since that's what I'm solving for. Equals sine of 35 over 5. And then of course I'm going to get B by itself. And so sine of B, in fact let me just do this. B would equal the arc sine of 7 sine 35 all over 5. Now hopefully that wasn't too much of a leap. Now what did I do? I multiplied 7 up. So sine of B would equal all this times 7. And then how do I get B by itself? Well, I do the arc sine of both sides. Okay, so let's go plug that in our calculator. Let me bring my calculator up here. And so we want to go ahead and do the arc sine, and you don't have to plug this all in at once, I guess. You know, you could just get this number and then do it. I'll go ahead and just do this since I already put it in. So 7 sine of 35 divided by 5. And that gives us about 53.4. 53.4. So let me come back over. Let me record that. Get my pen back here. So angle B is about 53.4 degrees. And again, let's just go to one decimal place there. Okay. Let's go ahead and clean this up. Let's solve just like normal, and then we'll talk about other scenarios. So the next easiest thing to do would be angle C, of course. So if I go back to my calculator, and if I just do 180 minus 53.4 minus 35, because we know those angles have to add up to 180. So C could be 91.6. So 91.6 degrees there. So now side C, and this is why they sometimes use that alpha, beta, gamma. That's kind of hard to tell if that's a cap, that's not. We'll look at the units. Okay, this is degrees, and this is just going to be a side length here. So now let's go figure out what side C is. Let me just bring my calculator out of the way. And so side C is over, notice now I'm using the form that matches here because I'm solving for a side. So C over sine of 91.6 equals, I'm going to go to A, that relationship they gave me, equals 5 over sine of 35. And then of course we're just going to multiply this up, right, to figure out what C is. So C equals 5 times sine 91.6 all over sine of 35 degrees. Okay, so let's bring that calculator back up and plug that in. So 5, let me bring that a little higher there so I can see everything. 5 sine 91.6 divided by sine 35. And that gives us about 8.7. Okay, so about 8.7. And we've got our triangle. But we need to check. I'm going to draw a line here. Is there another possible scenario? Okay, and I want you to picture the way I drew this. This 5 right here, what if I swung it over here? I made it go like right here, if you could imagine. In fact, I'll just do even a dotted line. Now that wouldn't be 7, of course, right? But you can imagine that angle B maybe could swing over and maybe give me a different angle here. And so let's try it. So the way I check, I solve my B. So if there's another scenario, okay, well, let's call it B prime, that alternate scenario, just do 180 minus that angle that we found. Okay, so 180 minus that. You can probably do that pretty quick. I'll just put in my calculator here so I don't make a silly mistake and then save it on YouTube for posterity to see. So minus 53.4 is 126.6. So let's go back and record that. So, whoa, 126.6 degrees there. Okay, so what we're saying is sine of 53.4 and sine of 126.6 would give you the same value. That's why you need to check this and see if it works. So how do I know if this is valid, if it would work? Well, I look at the angle they gave me, 35. Is 35 plus 126.6 going to be bigger than 180? No, it's not. And so I do have two separate scenarios here. So I'm going to put it right here. B prime is 126.6 degrees. So now I need to solve these other ones. So C prime and then little c prime. Now, once you've got that initial one, it's no different than what we've done. You just go through the same steps, except now you're solving for these alternate ones. So let's go up here. In fact, let's do C prime real quick. Same way, 180 minus 126.6 now minus our original one, 35. We know there's a 35 in there. They told us that, so that has to be there. And we would get 18.4. So let's go mark that. So 18.4 degrees. Again, both valid, right? And so that would have swung way over, and again, it's going to change the look of our triangle. In fact, this one is more what you'd see here. This one, my B prime is more the way I drew it. This alternate one would be more what we would see in this original scenario here, okay? Just the way I drew it. Okay, last thing, we need to find C prime. So very similar to what we did up here. Let me get my calculator out of the way so I've got some room to work here. So, C, and I'll just label it, C prime is sine of, what do we got? 18.4 degrees, because that's my angle C prime, equals, and this relationship's still the same, so it's just 5 over sine 35. Okay, so let's go plug that in our calculator. So I'm going to do 5 times sine of 18.4 divided by sine of 35. And that's about 2.8. So that gives me my other side there. Get my pen to come back. And so 2.8. So, two triangles right off the bat, our first case. What do? Solve like normal, and then just check and see if that angle we solved for, the very first one, if its supplement is still going to be less than 180 with the given angle, then you're going to have 2. Okay? Let's go look at those other cases.